Arthur Rose reporting live from Rolling Meadows. Our neighboring cat shelter, the Itty Bitty Kitty, has 3 kittens up for adoption. This is one of them, named Quinny. On to our story. This story is about Norman Rockwell. Norman Rockwell painted some very famous paintings. Some of them you might have even seen. Norman Rockwell had a pretty big family. He had 2 brothers, 3 sons, and married 3 times. He did a lot of paintings about a few different topics. Norman did a lot of charitable work too. When he went to art school, they were all in New York. Today you will learn about Norman's childhood and family, career, themes of art, and last but not least, his charitable works. Childhood and family. We will be talking about Norman Rockwell's family and childhood. Norman Rockwell was born on February 3rd, 1894. He spent most of his childhood in New York. When he got older, Norman married his first wife, Irene O'Connor. He had 3 sons, Thomas, Peter, and Jarvis. His 3rd wife was named Molly Punderson. In 1943, Norman's studio burnt down. He and his family later moved to Arlington, Vermont. Now you know more about Norman Rockwell's childhood and family. Norman's career. Now we will be talking about Norman Rockwell's career. The first cover Norman ever painted for the Saturday Evening Post. The first cover Norman ever painted was for the Saturday Evening Post. Norman Rockwell made 321 covers for the Saturday Evening Post. Norman also worked for a magazine called Look. For a long time, Norman painted for the Boy Scouts. Norman also worked for the Boys' Life magazine. Norman was a very accomplished painter. Today, people still enjoy his art. Themes of painting and paintings. Here are some of Norman Rockwell's themes of paintings and paintings that he is known for. Norman Rockwell painted Charles Lindbergh's crossing of the Atlantic, Neil Armstrong's left foot on the moon after the moon landing. He also painted everyday American scenes, especially the scenes of small town life. Some paintings he did were about the world that was around him. Norman also painted the 4 freedoms: the freedom of speech, the freedom of worship, freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. He painted about the social issues facing the country. He painted about poverty, race, and the Vietnam War. Now you've heard about some of his paintings. Do you think you've seen some? Charitable works. Norman Rockwell did a lot of charitable works. The 4 paintings of freedom toured the USA, and that raised $130 million for the war effort. During the final 10 years of his life, Norman made a trust to his artistic legacy so that his artistic legacy would be alive long after his passing. The trust is now the center of the Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. In 1976, he went into bad health. After that, he had his studio and paintings added to his trust. These are some of the paintings that Norman did for charity. Conclusion. Now you know all about Norman Rockwell and his childhood and family, career, themes of art, and charitable works. Norman was and still is famous for his painting skills and paintings full of meaning. The kind of work I did seemed to be what the magazines wanted, is what Norman said.